going to reconvene the July 1st continued to July 8th Parker Town Council meeting at 7 p.m. Council, actually we've got a young man here from the Scouts. Could you come down for a quick sec, sir? You didn't know that you're not only here to take notes, but you've got a really important job. If everyone could please rise and join, what's your name, buddy?
Otto.
Otto.
Yes.
Nice to meet you, Otto. Your job is going to be to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. The flag is back here. We're going to turn around. Everyone's going to wait until you start going, and then we'll all chime in.
I'll be the only one to.
You're good. You're good. All right.
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Excellent. Great job, Otto. Wonderful. I was going to call Ann Barrington up, but you know. That's later. All right. All council members have already signed in. We're present with the exception of Josh Rivero, who is still out of country. So next item up on our agenda is our Parker Chamber of Commerce updates, and I don't think we have anyone here from the chamber officially. I don't see. Nope. All right, then we're going to move to the next item, which is our DBA, Downtown Business Alliance updates. Everybody, put your hands together for Miss Ann Barrington. Oh, come on. You know that I'm going to do something for you when you come down. All right.
It feels like the Ann Barrington show.
It is. We needed bumper
for
music
embarrassing me twice. I'm sure that won't be the last.
Never.
So, good evening, Council and Mayor Mike Wade. Thank you for listening to our DBA update. So, if you didn't get that my name is Ann Barrington, I am on the board with the DBA, and I also own the Barrington Group Real Estate, which is in downtown Parker. And we are also here tonight. We're represented, we've got a couple other board members, the famous Shelly Mango, and Jeff. Oh my gosh.
Just Jeff, just like Prince.
Just Jeff.
Yeah. No, just call him
Jeff Sams.
like
I'm
I
so
said.
sorry. I'm looking at Jeff Toborg's name, and I'm a little bit frazzled now after.
People confuse us all.
Confuse us all.
You guys, you could be twins.
He's the better looking one.
So, as the DBA, our goal is to not only bring people downtown, but to also really help our members succeed. And we're really excited to be offering our members now a free 30 to 60 second commercial when you're a member of the Downtown Business Alliance. So these videos are going to be on our upcoming YouTube channel. So we're excited about that too. And also they will be available for the members to use however they wish, social media or wherever they want to put those out there. But we think that's a huge benefit because video is so up and coming now. So if you're not, it used to be if you're not online getting the bread line, now it's if you're not, I gotta come up with a catchy phrase for this.
If you're not on
We're counting on you for
YouTube,
this.
Right, I gotta think of something. I gotta keep it clean because we're on camera right now, online, on video.
So this has turned out to be quite an undertaking, and I didn't get the word out. We're hoping to partner with local high schools on this project because we have not a big budget. So we're hoping to partner with different high schools, and I reached out to Legend High School, and this was right before school got out, so it wasn't ideal. But I actually, other than my own children who are teenagers forced to volunteer now and get community service hours, I had one volunteer, and he has been doing a fantastic job. And I got permission from his parents to use his name. His name's Alan Carlson. He's a Legend High School student. He'll be a sophomore, and he's amazingly talented. And this is great exposure for him. It's something for him to put on his resume. So I'm excited about that for these kids who could be our downtown future business owners. And they also, in return, get community service hours. So it's a win-win for all of us. But I really don't want to burn Alan out because we have over 60 members in our Downtown Business Alliance now, so it's a big project. So, in other words, I'm looking for more volunteers. If any kids need some volunteer hours, and they definitely need to have some video production experience, but they can reach out to me and I can get them plugged in. Okay, so also, we are excited to share our next 2 fundraising events. So the first one is coming up in August. It's August 25th, and the DBA is presenting its first annual cornhole tournament. And
Getting ready for it.
we're ready for you. So we're looking for, the marketing materials will be out hopefully later this week. And teams can enter for $40 per team. Spectators can come and cheer them on for $5. And there will be plenty of food and beverage. Then the next one that we will be hosting is our second annual chili cook-off. Very excited about this. This is October 20th from 1 to 4, and both of these events will be hosted at the Studio on Main Street's parking lot. And I don't know if I mentioned that the cornhole tournament is from 1 to 4 also. Wanted to share with you a little bit about our last meeting. We had a great presentation from Andrew Roth, who is the head resource librarian at our library here in Parker. He's also a board member and acting secretary, but there are so many great resources at the library for small business, for everyone, but small business, and so he shared a lot of that at that meeting, so thank you, Andrew. Our next meeting is coming up this Wednesday, July 10th. It's at 9 a.m. at the Parker Library. And we will be launching our first 4 member videos, I hope. We're pretty close. And then also we adopted, we've mentioned this before, but we, as a DBA, adopted Pikes Peak for cleaning up trash. It's the Adopt a Street program. And we will be picking up this Saturday from 10 to 12. And the last time that we did it, it only took us about 45 minutes. And it was actually really fun. So for those kids that don't have video production experience, we would love to give you some community service hours if you come out and help us pick up some trash on Pikes Peak on Saturday. I think that's all I have, but thank you so much for listening and embarrassing me. And does anybody have any questions?
Excellent. Council, questions? Is this regulation cornhole? Is this?
Regulation. And I didn't even know there was such a thing.
No, I told Shelley last time I was in a tournament that guys got in a brawl. I mean, they take it serious of it's 2 inches too close. I'm like, whatever, it's just a beanbag on a board, but cool. All right, no questions. Thank you very much. I appreciate it, Ann. And I won't embarrass you next time, I promise.
Thank you.
I asked Shelley, I embarrassed her every time, so. All right, next up we've got is for public comment. This is for general public comment. This is an opportunity for you to address council if you are here for that. If you're here for a specific item on the agenda, there'll be public comment for those items. This is for general public comment. No action will be taken. So we'll open up public comment at 7:09 p.m. if there's anyone here wishing to address council. I think our scout and our scout's mom are the only ones that are.
Can I ask a question?
You can come on down.
Is it ready to come up?
Yes, please. So you'll come on down, you'll state your name and address for the record. There's a little timer that's above me. You'll start clicking off, and you got 3 minutes. You can just right there at the podium.
Over here, okay.
Yep.
Not interactive.
Yeah, so and it's not interactive, so you can ask a question, I'll write it down, and then we'll get back with you.
Okay.
Yeah.
My name is Beth Huffman. I'm at 9782 Sarah Gulch Circle in Parker. And I just had a general question about just the growth in Parker, and I know there's a lot of homes going up. I was just kind of curious if there has been any thought to adding more recreation and park areas. I know a lot of club sports and just a lot of different sports teams are always struggling to find places to play, and that was our experience in club sports anyway. We're kind of out of that, but and I know even some of the high schools around here, there's really no pool for swimming tournaments, like at the high school level. I've just heard other parents talking about that, and it was just a question I thought I would ask.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. So after we're done at the meeting, I'll fill you in on some of the past details of the pool and the $60+ million it costs to build a pool, which is why the school district won't build one. So at any rate, but yeah, I'll fill you in on more details of that afterwards. Thank you very much. Anyone else for public comment? Seeing none, we'll close public comment at 7:11 p.m. and move on to reports, items, and comments from mayor and council. Cheryl, do you have anything to share?
No, I don't.
Okay. Jeff?
I have just a short list. I attended the swearing in of 10 Parker police officers with the mayor. I believe that was last Wednesday.
Last Sunday.
Last-
It was 3 to 5, but they were over at 3:15.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And these guys all look young, very young, but very, very impressive group. We had Economic Development Liaison Committee today. Just to note to the council that the revolving loan program is about ready to get off the ground. I think in the next probably month, we'll have it up and running with the initial $100,000, 50 matching from us and 50 from the CEF. I think that's the name of it. So that's a good thing. Also, we've been talking about Paragon 28, the prosthetics company that deals with feet mostly, and they are opening up in August. And they'll at the end of the year, they're expected to have about 200 employees in Parker. So they're bringing a good economic base with them. Also attended the Parker Council of Arts, Science, and Culture July 4th 5K. On Pikes Peak. They had 600 runners this year, so this is their 3rd year that they've done it. They're up from 150 the first year to 600 this year, and they raised about $18,000 in support of arts, culture, and science in Parker. Just a shout out to their sponsors, Trent Briney with R&K Running, Jim Annist and IRA with the big sponsors. And just a note as well, and I don't know if people have been following on social media, but oftentimes we have the folks that are concerned about prairie dogs coming in here talking about what's going on. So the prairie dogs that are down in Stroh, where the new Dominion apartments are going to be, you might have seen traps out there. They have plans right now. This week they're going to relocate 300 of them with a permit from the Department of Wildlife up to Jefferson County's open space. So I think one of the nice things with this group is they come and they talk, but now they're finally putting it into action, and I think it's pretty cool. And I believe that Dominion and the property owner put in money to help them out with the cost too. So good job for them. And that's all I got.
All right. Renee?
So today, Councilman Dyak and myself had our finance liaison meeting to get us up to speed on everything finance. We did have the audit for the town completed, and it was very good, so thank you, Finance Department back there. And then Mr. Otto out in the audience. I have never met an Otto before, except my father and my brother, both of their middle names is Otto. So, trivia.
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 All right. Debbie?
Really not anything to report. I've been out of town and just got back right before the 4th. But Councilman Dyak and I, the reason I know that timing of our new officers being sworn in, we got there just about 15 minutes too late, like at 3:15. We missed it.
Mm-hmm.
Still was plenty of cake.
John?
I watched the Stars and Stripes fireworks festivities from afar, and it seemed like everybody, even though you weren't in Salisbury Park, it seems like everybody found a space to watch it. So it was a great spectacle, great event. I also had a public works liaison meeting. We talked about projects on our 5-year CIP and a few other things. So it looks like we can start building some roads or improving some roads here in the future.
Excellent. A couple things I have. The Stars and Stripes celebration, it was delayed because of the hail. And sitting at home in Stroh Ranch watching golf ball size hail pelt my house and the cars and everything around was interesting. And then jumping in the car and being at the show with sunny skies, an hour later. It was a good show. Hats off to our police department who did a fantastic job with when it had to close down and get everyone out of there with guiding the traffic through, and all of our volunteers and staff. Brooke and her staff did a fantastic job on that. We did have the officer swearing in ceremony, and because we had 10 of them, we did them all at once. That's why you guys didn't get to see them, because normally we do them individually, but with that many, we just did them. And just personally, it was kind of neat because one of the kids, a friend of mine, one of the owners of Pride Auto Repair, Daryl, who, if you guys remember, Daryl's son was one of the officers who got sworn in. So remembering seeing Jake as a little kid, you know, running around the shop and all that, and all of a sudden seeing him getting sworn as an officer, it's pretty cool to see. And last but not least, if you haven't done it yet, buy your tickets to Full Monty, opening a week from Friday at the Pay Center. Incredible performers in that, except for one. There's one guy who is just mediocre at best. He has a good beard and a bald head. If you can't guess, it's me. But the show is absolutely phenomenal. Shows Friday nights, 2 on Saturdays, 1 on Sundays for the next 3 weeks after opening next Friday, so buy your tickets. All right, with that, we're gonna go ahead and move on to the next item, which is our consent agenda. Consent agenda items are considered to be routine and will be enacted with one motion and one vote. Ordinances on consent agenda are for introduction only, and we have consent agenda items 6A through 6L in front of you guys. So I would entertain a motion, please.
So moved.
No. Second?
I have a motion from Renee and a second from Debbie. Council, in just a sec, your box will pop up on your screens.
Or not.
Or not, in Debbie's case. We're still waiting to see. Please vote. Debbie, did yours pop up?
No.
All right, why don't you tell Chris what your vote would be?
Yes.
John?
Yes. It's not.
Both of yours haven't popped up?
I'll go back out.
And you can manually put theirs in? Okay.
Oh, there it is.
Both of you guys' boxes pop, okay. All right, motion passes unanimously. Next item up is our public hearing. This is item number 7. This is our 2019 budget amendment. In front of you tonight, council, is 7.1, which is ordinance number 1.523.2 on second reading, which is a bill for an ordinance to adopt the 2019 budget amendment for the town of Parker and to make appropriations for the same. And number 2 is repairs to the Pay Center roof. And you are going to, I don't think we have anything else on, there's just those 2. So floor is yours. Go right ahead.
Yes, good evening, Mayor and Council. The purpose of this budget revision is to amend appropriated funds for 2019. The details of this revision are attached to the budget ordinance. For a high-level overview of it, the town is refunding the 2009 COPs. As part of this transaction, $3,500,000 will be paid towards the existing principal. So that is being requested as part of this ordinance. And then we also have a budget adjustment to add $750,000 to the budgeted sales tax revenue. And that'll bring us flat to the 2018 money that actually came in. And then we have the cultural fund. The roof needs replaced. And we have a follow-up on here to give more explanation on that if necessary. And so that's $230,000. $30,000 was already budgeted for that, so we're asking for an additional $200,000. And then, if necessary, a transfer from the capital reserve fund to the cultural fund to supplement for that roof replacement. But that'll only happen if the fund balance gets to the cultural fund. And that's the net of what our budget amendment is.
Okay, thank you very much, Ron. Council, do you have any questions for Ron?
John?
John?
Yeah, no, Councilmember Williams and myself had the Finance Liaison Committee. We reviewed this. We didn't see anything, any issue on this at all.
Other questions? Okay, seeing none, we'll open it up for public comment at 7:20 p.m. if there's anyone here wishing to address council. Okay, seeing none, we'll close public comment at 7:20 p.m. and I would entertain further discussion or a motion, please.
I move to approve ordinance number 1.523.2 on second reading.
Second.
We have a motion from Cheryl and a second from Renee. Council, please vote when the little box pops up.
Yes.
John,
I'm good.
yours popped up?
I fixed it.
Motion passes unanimously. And we have one more item on that? Or was that all right? Okay. All right, so next item on our agenda is item number 9. Item number 8. This is ordinance number 9.291 on second reading. This is a bill for an ordinance approving the agreement regarding final design and construction of fee in lieu drainage and flood control improvements for Green Acres tributary at Compark Village South, agreement number 19-06.01, project number 107382, by and between Urban Drainage and Flood Control District and the town of Parker. Oh, did I skip something?
I think we missed the.
Oh, we did, didn't we? I just jumped right into the next one. All right. So, hey, everything I just said, forget it. Okay?
How about the abridged version?
The abridged version. All right, Mr. Gilbert, you want to give us any info on number 2, repairs to Pace Center?
Sure. So just to bring you up to speed, the existing roof has failed to adhere over the theater area. And although the roof is only 8 years old, we had high winds, and back in February of this last year, I went up to look at the roof, and if you can remember back in school, playing with the parachute, and everybody was around and throwing the ball up and play, that's what it looked like on about 80% of the roof up there. So that's why we're looking to replace the roof. It is essential that we do that at this point. We are going to still work on the legal aspect after doing the repair or replacement of the roof membrane to work on getting refunds back or subrogation through both the vendor or the original manufacturer as we can. But if we don't do this at this point, what we risk is downstream effect. Anytime you have a roof membrane start to puncture and bring water into the facility, the costs become exponential in repair. So that's why we're asking for the money to move forward with this project. The contractor we have already worked with, they are a local business here in Parker, and we believe that what we're going to get will be able to provide us with probably up to 20 years worth of a good existing roof membrane over that theater area.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you very much. Council, any questions for Jim? No? Okay, we'll open it for public comment at 7:23. If there's anyone here about roof membranes or parachutes when you were a kid. All right, seeing none, we'll close public comment at 7:23, and I would entertain further discussion or a motion, please.
I move to approve the staff recommendation for this project or this contract.
Second.
Motion by Cheryl and a second by Renee. Council, please vote.
Yes, it came up this time.
It came up this time?
Yes,
Hallelujah.
after the 4th time.
Sorry, vote.
We're waiting. Motion passes unanimously. Now we're going to move on to item number 8. This is ordinance number 9.291 on second reading. Bill for an ordinance approving the agreement regarding final design and construction of fee in lieu of drainage and flood control improvements for Green Acres tributary at Compark Village South, agreement number 19-06.01, project number 107382, by and between Urban Drainage and Flood Control District and the town of Parker. Mr. James.
All right, thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. The agreement you have before you tonight is an intergovernmental agreement between the town and Urban Drainage and Flood Control District. It's just to design the improvements. The town has obtained the funds from the developer to design these improvements, and town council approved that agreement on June 17th of this year. The funds in the amount of $478,747 will be transferred to Urban Drainage with this intergovernmental agreement for this design. The town's stormwater capital budget does include this project in the capital line item for 2019, as does Urban Drainage's. To orient yourself, the Green Acres tributary is around the red circle on the screen there. E470 is to the north. Chambers is to the east. And if you're familiar with American Furniture Warehouse, that's that big building there in the middle of the screen. So 470 Compark LLC has an approved minor development plat for Belford Avenue in the Compark Village South development. With that development, they're required to design and construct the Green Acres tributary improvements. In this case, the town and urban drainage have decided or determined that it'd be in the best interest of both entities to do cash in lieu, have the town and urban drainage do the design and the construction, still having the developer fund the improvements. So existing conditions out at the Green Acres tributary, there's a poorly defined channel that needs to be improved in order to accept conveyance of flows from development both on site and upstream. Without these improvements, once water starts flowing through this poorly defined channel, it'll unravel on us very quickly. So we want to get ahead of it, get the channel stabilized and constructed before they turn the water on.
What is that in the middle of the picture?
That is debris.
I'm afraid to put my glasses on to see what it is. So.
That is all.
That's what I was thinking. Is it a dead body or something? All right, next.
It's private property.
It's private property, so we don't know.
So the conceptual design for this project is complete, and it was funded by the developer as well. If approved, the final design will start this year in 2019 and be complete in 2020. It will include a contractor through the Urban Drainage Project Partners approach through the entire process, so we have a good handle on costs as we go through design. The construction costs will be determined through this design, and they will be provided and followed up with by 470 Compark LLC. So with that, the agreement will be amended in 2020 once we do know construction costs, so that we can accept those funds from the developer and pass those along to Urban Drainage for construction as well. So with that, this project will create an engineering design for the Green Acres tributary channel to stabilize it. It will be eligible for urban drainage maintenance assistance in the future, and it will provide a stable channel through the Compark Village South property. So with that, staff recommends approval of ordinance number 9.291, and happy to answer any questions.
Council, any questions?
I just have one. On the 487 or 470,000 of the project, that was all provided to us.
The current, yes, exactly. It was 100% funded by the developer, correct, yes.
Other questions? Okay, we'll open it up for public comment at 7:28 p.m. Seeing none, we'll close public comment at 7:28, and I'll entertain further discussion or a motion, please.
I move to approve ordinance number 9.291 on second reading.
Motion by Debbie and a second by Renee. Council, please vote. Motion passes unanimously. But before we get to our next item on our agenda, this is item number 9, and there is council has established a conflict of interest with Cheryl Pogue on this item, so Cheryl will be leaving for the rest of the night. So Cheryl, thank you very much, and have a good evening.
Okay, and I want everybody to know that I contested this conflict of interest. It's been put on me because of my 42 years of public service to the fire department.
Thank you very much. Okay. So next item up, item number 9A. This is resolution number 19-052. This is a resolution to approve the mutual release and settlement by and between the town of Parker, Colorado, and South Metro Fire Rescue Fire Protection District. Jim Maloney, you're going to lead us.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This is a lawsuit that's been going on for over 2 years, involves multiple parties. And because of the history and the fact this was such a public lawsuit, I thought I would provide a little bit of background concerning the lawsuit itself, the components of the settlement, so you have an opportunity to consider those items before you vote. So on June 6th of 2017, South Metro filed a lawsuit against the Parker Authority for Reinvestment. According to the lawsuit, PAR was wrongly receiving tax revenue under the urban renewal law and requested a court order that PAR repay this money to South Metro. On January 3rd of 2018, and these are two entities with a lot of acronyms, but they're two separate corporate entities. The first one is MSSL Main Street LLC and Parker AL LLC. Both of these corporate entities filed a request with the court to join in the lawsuit because PAR was paying these two entities a portion of the tax revenue that South Metro was claiming. You can understand why they might be upset. These entities had constructed the senior independent living facility and assisted living and memory care facilities on Main Street called Morning Star. Subsequently, again, more acronyms, RIG Cottonwood LLC, Parker Flats LLC, and the town of Parker itself also filed requests with the court to join the lawsuit because PAR was paying these entities a portion of tax revenue that South Metro was claiming. RIG Cottonwood LLC redeveloped the Cottonwood Shopping Center. Parker Flats LLC developed the apartment project downtown, and the town loaned money to PAR. So all five of these entities had entered into legally binding agreements with PAR to be repaid by PAR using property taxes that were claimed by South Metro. On March 11th of this year and also March 20th of this year, the court entered orders on primary legal issues, in this case in favor of PAR and the five entities that had entered into agreements to receive the property taxes claimed by South Metro. Although the court's orders were favorable to PAR and the five entities, there were a few remaining issues left in the lawsuit to be addressed by the trial court, and there was the possibility of appeals to the Court of Appeals as well as to the Colorado Supreme Court. In other words, years more litigation, even though we had prevailed at the trial court level. So instead of focusing more energy on litigation, the parties decided to cooperate and address a real need that is not only facing South Metro, but also the town of Parker. The common need is the impact to the town and South Metro created by new development. As you know, the town has been in the process of studying the impacts created by new development for some time. The town hired a consultant by the name of Tischler Bice to determine the amount of money that the town could legally charge new development. The town currently has an excise tax that was approved by the residents some 20 years ago that imposes a tax on new development. Unfortunately, this tax is no longer adequate to offset the impacts of new development. So on tonight's agenda, there were three ordinances that were approved by Town Council on first reading. The first is an impact on new development, and the amount of the impact fee is based upon the Tischler Bice study. The second is an increase in the excise tax on new development. And the third is a ballot question that would ask the residents to approve an increase in the excise tax for new development. If the residents vote to approve an increase in the excise tax for new development, then the approval would result in repeal of the impact fee ordinance because the excise tax increase would address the impacts of new development itself. So the town and South Metro cooperated to find a process similar to the town's process of addressing the impacts created by new development. In this regard, there is a state statute that allows municipalities and fire districts to cooperate in developing impact fees to address the impact to public safety services caused by new development. Using this state law as a starting point, South Metro also hired Tischler Bice to determine the amount of money that the town could legally charge on new development for public safety services. So if the tax is approved, the town collects the tax and then in turn pays it to South Metro to offset these impacts. The excise tax ordinance that was approved by Town Council on first reading tonight contains specific amounts that would be collected in the form of the excise tax for new residential construction in the town, including public safety services, which amounts are based on the Tischler Bice study. As a result of this cooperation, the town, PAR, and South Metro have agreed to settle the lawsuit, which settlement is subject to the town residents approving an increase in the excise tax at the November 5th, 2019 special election. If the residents do not approve the increase in the excise tax for new residential development, the litigation will resume. So this is a temporary timeout in anticipation that the voters would approve this, assuming you approve it at second reading next Monday night. Under the settlement agreement, the town will collect on behalf of South Metro the portion of the excise tax described in the ordinance for public safety services for a minimum of 20 years. The excise tax to be collected by the town for new residential development and paid to South Metro consists of a tax increase on new residential development in the amount of $583 for a single-family dwelling, $376 for an attached dwelling, and $338 for each dwelling unit in an apartment. The town will not seek an increase in the non-residential excise tax, but the town will pay to South Metro an equal share of the non-residential excise tax on new development that the town is currently collecting. I can also report tonight that the other four entities with the acronyms have all agreed to settle based upon these terms. So any questions, Mayor, Council?
Council, questions? I just want to underscore for everyone watching, this is on new development, not existing development. Correct?
That is correct.
Okay. All right. We'll open it up for public comment at 7:38 p.m. Seeing none, we'll close public comment at 7:38, and I would entertain further discussion or a motion, please.
I move to approve resolution number 19-052.
Second.
We have a motion by John and a second by Debbie. Council, please vote. Motion passes unanimously. With no further business before council, we will adjourn at 7:38 p.m. But don't run, people. We have another meeting you get to sit through right after this. In a few seconds, we're going to start our Parker Authority for Reinvestment meeting. But I would love to have you and Otto come down and I can explain to you your question if you'd like. So there's a couple pieces to it. I'll just start talking while you're coming down. So there's a couple pieces to it, and I love to have people